What's going on, YouTube? So today, a customer called me this morning and they said that they were losing boost pressure. The truck was kind of struggling, and they were hearing a loud like whistle, like a lot of air coming out from the front. So I did my inspection, and then let me show you guys right here at the turbo. The cause of it is, I guess, one of the bolts came out, and it's losing the exhaust through here. You can see it's supposed to have another bolt right here. You can see the gap right there. So this tells me that bolt came off or broke or came loose, and that's the problem with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the turbo, and I'll get a hold of that new gasket and put it in there. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so this is pretty straightforward. It just has 4 bolts, which is right here, 2 on the bottom, which I can get to, and 2 on the top, which I'll probably have to use a wrench. Well, it's just one because one of them fell out, so I'm gonna have to use a wrench up top. Now what I'll do, when it's something on the exhaust like that, I always like to, clean it down with some brake cleaner. We'll hit it with some brake cleaner just to get it nice and clean, get the threads clean. And then I'll hit it with some penetrating oil or WD-40, whatever you have, because since they do heat up, they get pretty hot and then cold, and hot and cold. Sometimes inside the thread will be a little bit, not damaged, but it'll be a little worn out, so you might have a hard time doing so if you don't lubricate it. So lubrication is key. So then I have my 14 millimeter socket with an extension and my ratchet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start breaking these off. Then behind this one right here, the one that I'm doing, I put the wrench is already on there, but I mean, look, you see that this one was also loose. So we'll go ahead and pull these off. Now in this particular engine, it was made from this is a Cat C15 Gasket, and they usually come with twin turbos, but my client already had it switched to a single turbo, which you lose some horsepower and you lose some tuning capabilities, but I mean it's way easier to work on, other components like the water pump, and you get to the thermostats a lot easier by doing so. So it's a pretty good conversion. Alright, so I got that one off. Right here in the back. And I just noticed, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me go ahead and switch this camera around. If you guys notice, I'm gonna have to take off this line right here, the oil return. The top one is the oil supply to the turbo, and the bottom one is the oil return. And as you can see, that is it's a straight metal pipe. It's not like this one that I can flex it. So I'm gonna have to take the bottom one off. That way what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the turbo back in order to access that gasket. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off this tube. It should have two should be 13 millimeter down here, and the bottom to take off that oil return. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off. I'm gonna take off the other ones, and I'll just slide this back and take off that gasket. Alright guys, so now that I've taken off the bolts off the turbo, which is these three that were on there, and the nuts, they were actually kind of loose. So now I'm just going to pull this back. Inch it back some, and I can pull out the gasket. Now, as you guys can see, where it failed is exactly where that bolt came out. You can see it kind of broke it all apart. So I'm gonna run to the parts store, and I need to get a hold of another one of these bolts to replace the other one. And I mean, if they got them new, I'll probably just put them in new, because I don't know why this failed. If you know, if the nuts are loose or anything, might have failed because of that, or just improper tightening of the nuts and bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these and the gasket to the parts place, and I'll come back and we'll put it together, guys. Alright guys, so I'm back with parts. I went ahead and I got the brand new gasket, and if you guys need the part number, it's CAT AF 1S4295. If you guys ever do one of these, and just make sure it's the right one that you need. And then another tip for you guys is, you guys want to make sure on your nuts and bolts that you have no oil whatsoever on them, because they might just come loose. So what I do is I'll spray them down with some brake cleaner, and I'll let them dry for a little bit. I'll do the same with the nuts. Just make sure they have no oil residue or anything on them. That's very important. And then on this, I'm also going to be adding just a little bit of this Loctite, because I don't want them coming loose or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Remember, all you guys don't need to, don't ever coat it all with Loctite. All you want to do is just get one line on there is good enough. You don't need to, you know, put it all over, because then to take it off is gonna be a pain to take it off. So just make sure you get one line, and that's good enough. So I'm go ahead and put that on there. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I cleaned this area of the inside with an emery cloth and brake cleaner, and then this is how I like to do my nuts, just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gasket, and I'll try and line it up with one. Gonna have to pull and tug a little bit on it to get it where it needs to go. And whichever one lines up is the one that's gonna go in first, because it is a bit of a pain. Okay, I got one in. That one's not cooperating. I'll go ahead and grab my big pry bar and see if I can move it around. Okay, so I got two of them in. The two top ones are already in. I'm gonna go ahead and put the I'm gonna go ahead and put the nuts on the top ones. That way I can move it around and it won't fall down on me. Okay, that's three. We got one more to go. Oh, that one went in right away. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the nuts and bolts here. Then I'm gonna clean this off right here with the drain tube, and put it back on there, and we'll be good to go. So once I'm done there, I'm gonna run the engine and just make sure we got it good, nice and good. Alright guys, so we got the engine running, and I'm gonna just check it with some soap and water. It also has a leak on the manifold, but that's not exactly what he wanted me to fix. So I'll go ahead and just comment on. I'll tell him what he wants to do there, because that is a little bit of a bigger job. So there you guys have it. This is a Peterbilt. You guys already know, if you guys need some servicing over here in the Permian Basin, give me a call. Remember to like and subscribe. Look forward to more videos like this. I'm gonna try and keep you guys a little bit more informed on what I do and how I do it. So any questions or comments, let me know. I'll get to you, and be safe out there, and peace.